0.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Hand's turn. Today, on the Speedcast, we're going to take our hands, we're going to put them in our pockets, and then we're going to turn them inside out.
Okay.
Because we're spending all of our money, because these handhelds are getting expensive. Boy, are they getting expensive. Today, I'm joined by Gamers Generation and Game Tech Talk. What's going on, fellas?
Hello.
Jimmer is my other name.
Yeah.
And my wallet is also empty, and I don't know where it is. So I guess we're right on point tonight.
The Freudian slip, or AI hallucination, as you would call it.
Yeah, it works for me.
So anyway, we got these new Z2E handhelds coming out. I mean, we're all thinking they're probably going to be at least $1,000 a piece, which is creeping up on the territory of, you know, say like the GPDs and the 1X players, INEOs, etc. And, you know, it was crazy. Think about it the other day. The OG Ally launched at 700. It recently was going for 650, like not even a sale, just 650. Was just the price now. I think recently went on sale for 500. Obviously used, you can go way cheaper than that. The Ally X launches for 900. So that's, a 30-ish% increase in price. And now for this new Ally X, we're looking at least 1,000. So like another 10% on top of that 30%. So like, why do we think why does this keep creeping up and up and up and up? I'll start with you, Clef. What do you got? You look like you're just ready to.
Well, first of all,
take us to school.
I want to push it even a little further to what you just said. And even if we look at the SteamDeck, which, okay, arguably is a different operating system, but it started at what, 400? And, clearly the blueprint was there. And not to say that Valve was the first to do a PC handheld, because boutiques were already there, right? So one thing Valve showed the world, look, there's a market for that. Not to say that GPD, INEO, and 1X Player did not do that before. They did, but it was so niche in comparison to Valve going like super mainstream and enough to probably have Nintendo shake a little bit. That's no small feat. So for Steam to be able to achieve that, they proved that there was a market there. And then all of a sudden, you have the big players jumping in. ASUS, you have MSI, you have Lenovo. And when it comes to, I'll just specifically handpick ASUS. This is something I've said in the past in previous episodes. They have their MO. I don't blame them. That's what they do. They penetrate. Sorry, this is an 18 plus rated episode. They penetrate the market, and they just go for it. They go after your attention span. They go after your desires. And they have succeeded. The ROG Ally was a massive success for ASUS. But once they have their teeth in the market, the prices jump. It's immediate. And if you take that into consideration, and ASUS have already successfully done so because the ROG Ally X was a success, right? I think we'll all agree on that. But then at the same time, you also have the blueprint of the boutique shops like GPD, INEO, proving that customers are willing to pay more. And better yet, they're willing to pay 25, 30% more for what? A 5, 10% FPS increase? Is that not what we've been doing for the last 2 years? That's exactly what we've been doing. And then on top of that, you have, maybe it has its back very large, but COVID is still a thing that did happen. Or wait, am I not supposed to say the word C19, whatever it is, whatever the, is that even a thing? I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked here. The point is, it all trickles down. AMD announced about a year ago now that all the new APUs were going to get a pricing. Well, all the new APUs and CPUs and GPUs were going to get a 15 to 20% price bump on cost. So we're just seeing all of that trickle down. And if this is happening with AMD, this is happening with panels, this is happening with plastic, this is happening with printing boards, with copper, with absolutely everything. So it is inevitable. It sucks, but it is inevitable. So what do we do? What do we do as consumers? That's maybe another episode, because I could go on and on and on that as well. But anyways, I'm sorry. Please Gamers Generation, what is your take?
I don't know. I honestly, I'm still processing this information, and I didn't hear anyone, but I think the takeaway was what, like, stop buying any handheld, right? Because
Are you gonna
you're just
get
paying more money.
penetrated by ASUS? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I had to.
yeah, I mean, unless you like that,
Maybe.
I guess, yeah, some deep penetration. Hey, what are you guys talking about here? I'm talking about choking, like it's a medical condition, like aspiration. Yeah,
Wait,
you guys can look it up if you want. Yeah,
the
yeah,
choking?
choking on ASUS. Like choke, yeah,
What?
or ASUS choking you. Whoa, this got dark real fast.
Real
Yeah, I don't know. I was looking at some numbers earlier, and I think there's a website, Gaming on Linux, that does a lot of like Steam Deck stuff, and they were suggesting that I think it's like the sales numbers for Steam Decks were like 6 million or something like that. I honestly feel like that's probably an underestimated number, truthfully, after like 3 years or so. And some other, like, brief searches were saying like about 500,000 units for an ROG Ally, about 4 to 600,000 units for a Legion Go. And if we had to make a guesstimate, we could say that the numbers would maybe be like 50% or lower for, some of the lesser known brands or companies like GPD and INEO and 1X Player. But I don't know. I kind of feel like those are probably also underreported. What's also underreported is, of course, the sales numbers of used units and like the value of like, let's say, retained value or retention of the value, right? The thing is if people are year over year upgrading their devices like cell phones, that's playing right into the hands of the companies, right? That's what they want. You spend another $1,000, as Zach said right before we went on live here, or recorded, I should say. That's that's the Apple, that's the Samsung yearly phone release where they barely iterate on their last generation. That's what they want, and that's what sustains their business model, at least insofar as they need to get you some other way with like a subscription. These handheld companies, they don't have that, and hopefully I'm not barking up the wrong tree by giving them an idea here to have a handheld subscription. Yeah, it's like Steam Deck on lease, pay $50 every month.
Oh
Like,
God.
yeah, like, until we reach that point, though, yeah, this is how the companies are probably going to nickel and dime you, because let's be real, I mean, the super yachts that they buy are not going to pay for themselves. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of expected that once we hit this, I guess we could say, like, handheld PC golden age, that they're going to try and get as much profit, squeeze as much out of you as they possibly can.
I gotta add something to that. At the same time, I also understand the stance, because, and I'm gonna take what is probably in the recent years the most public example of, sometimes if you're too eager about releasing your tech, you can just get screwed all over. And I'm talking about Intel. Intel has been dominated by AMD, dominated, by Nvidia and GPUs, while AMD as well. Doesn't matter what area we're talking about. Intel, unfortunately, I know they still have places where they do well. I believe in the medical field, they are still extremely present, and just hardware in general. But all that to say that I also understand if AMD is keeping a lot of aces in its back pocket for the day that they feel like they need to release it. To me, it's obvious that we're not getting the full extent of what they're able to produce today, just because, like, why would you give them everything now if there's no competition, as opposed to just milking them over and over and over? And when really the sales dwindle and we can no longer push the prices up as they're doing right now because people are not buying, we'll just give them, well, we want to increase the price, same price as last year, but this time you're getting a 30% performance uplift. And then it's like, oh my God, 30%, same price as last year. Let's go.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Clef. That is the NVIDIA Super Series, like, refresh like model, basically. And people are playing by NVIDIA's playbook. They're following that strategy. And I mean, yeah, love it or hate it. I think most gamers and consumers would probably hate it. But when you look at them having the most financial success, it makes sense for AMD to follow that playbook. There's a bunch of videos that have recently come out on YouTube, saying how like, Intel's in this death spiral, Intel's like screwed. Some people are very happy about that. And just as like a quick tangent, I feel like that's the wrong perspective to have, simply because if they do end up dying and they go the way of the dodo, like we're not going to see any price relief from AMD. It's probably just going to get worse. And you can actually see that like on the GPU side from like desktop GPUs with NVIDIA. They know that they have such a command of the market that they literally can charge anything. And if you're not going to buy it, well, just as Clef said, they're going to give you this 30% bump or whatever. And then they'll say, hey, look, see, it's the same price. It's 4090 value in a 5070, and people will eat that up. If not now, later, they will feed you the shit and call it chocolate, right? Like it's
choke on that.
exactly. So, I mean, the handheld space is no different in that regard. I feel like, I don't want to just like play this angle of like, Valve is the good guy because they're like holding out. I mean, we know why they're doing that. That's because they still make their money from the game
exactly
sales,
like
right?
and just for the viewers watching this, corporates have numbers, and you take one number and you might think that makes no sense. Why do you think because you sell one Steam Deck that you're guaranteed to make 1,000 in the next year? But they have so many numbers, they run so many of them, that ultimately, even if they're wrong by say 5%, there's still 95% of those metrics that will end up coming true. And if it doesn't, they will strategize to make it come true. That's how businesses, large corporations operate. And they, for most case scenarios, will always find a way. So even if there is just 6 million Steam Deck, that may seem like little, I guarantee you Valve has metrics that they know that, out of those 6 millions, the average that any user will buy in terms of software will be say 1,500 within a year. The average, that is. Some people will buy 500, some people will buy 3,000, but the average, let's say, is 1,500. Ultimately, they'll make money within 1 year. Valve is able to say that because they have software. Where's ASUS selling what? Armory Crate expansions? Like,
yeah.
It's not happening, right?
No, you're exactly right. And before Zach has to rein us in for being way too anti-corpo and losing any chances of sponsors that we might have.
Popcorn.
Yeah,
I do get it.
I'll just say that one angle I think that the Steam Deck can really be looked at as well, even though people love, the idea of a Steam Deck Pro, a Steam Deck 2, unless you're Joe, then you already have your Steam Deck 2. I'm looking at the Steam Deck right now as where it is, the LCD Steam Deck and the OLED Steam Deck. They very much could just continue having the same baseline, maybe adjusting the price a little bit for sales or whatever, and essentially treat this like a loss leader. So for those who are like unfamiliar with like loss leaders and like, businesses, it's like Costco's like hot dog and soda type thing, or like a rotisserie chicken from Acme or ShopRite, or what are some chains in Canada?
I
Like
got
Save
a
on Foods?
perfect example. Perfect example. You open up the Walmart ad you just received in your mailbox, and it's like, new pillow, memory foam, $5. And then you're like, oh my God, we got to get a pillow, memory foam, $5. You run to Walmart and you're like, oh my God, here's the pillow. That's your loss leader. Why? Because Walmart is probably paying each pillow's $6. So they're actually losing $1, or they pay $4 and they make $1. It's so little. But here's what Walmart is banking on: that when you step foot into their store, you're gonna be like, here's a pillow. Oh, and here's some juice. Baby, we need Rice Krispies. Grab the Rice Krispies.
Exactly.
Oh, we need. That's what the goal is.
Yeah.
It's to get you in the store.
Yeah, exactly. And with Valve, that's the perfect setup. You buy your Steam Deck used, $300, brand new $400 or whatever. Yeah, but then as soon as you do that, look, you just open up the Steam store and you just bought 10 games right there.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, the way I see it, that works perfectly for them. And they have no real necessity, at least in this point in time, or the immediate foreseeable future, to push out like a Steam Deck 2, especially when they have like Steam OS available to, other operating systems.
Except if Epic Game is gaining too much ground, Game Pass is gaining too much ground, because yes, you can install Windows on a Steam Deck, but let's be real. If you have a Steam Deck, chances are you are sticking to Steam OS. And so like you are gonna, so that could be a valid reason for Valve to eventually drop a Steam Deck too, is if they feel like somehow people are shifting a little too much, not paying them enough attention. Oh, the numbers have dwindled since last year. Let's give them an incentive to stay, especially if the dwindle comes from the Steam Deck owners, because they have all those numbers. Valve are, man, I don't know if you guys used to play like, sports games and be as much into the stats as you were into playing the games. I was that guy. Like,
I mean, you're the reason why they made like Football Manager and stuff, right?
dude,
like, yeah.
Smash Bro. Bro, like I would look at my stats. How many times have I done a smash? Like, I love stats. So yeah. I'm sorry.
Speaking of smashing something, make sure again, if you're interested in this kind of conversation, hit the like and subscribe buttons, leave us a comment below, or just come on to Discord and say how bad these takes are. Yeah,
no, they're great. And yeah, smash the like. I thought you were going to talk about smashing something else, but okay.
Yeah. Smashing some watermelons. Don't do it to your handheld.
My hopes and dreams.
Yeah. Hopes and dreams too. Or your wallets. That works too. Yeah.
My piggy bank.
Yeah. I hope you got a lot of
it. I guess speaking of smashing the piggy bank, so we've talked quite a bit, about Strix Halo, things like the Z13. We talked about the GPD Win 5 previously. Just looking at some of these numbers, it just seems like Strix Halo is Batman. It's not the hero we wanted, but it's the hero that we deserve. And you look at like Z13, 22, 23, whatever, lower 2Ks prices. And, now we're looking at these HX 370s. We're looking, at Z2Es, about 3 times less for only half the price. Or if you inverse that, you could pay double but get triple the performance. Is kind of where I'm at with that. But the downside of that is, it's $2,000 plus. It's, you mentioned Costco earlier, it's like, yeah,
it's expensive.
This is a take I have. I'm curious, I guess, to see, what you think about that. Does it make sense to go, say, with like a Strix Halo product, whether it's the Z13 or, maybe one of these other handhelds that are coming out, even though they are going to be like $2,000 plus, and everything else is still kind of half that price, just because you can get that much more performance. Like the performance left that you really want is there, but you just got to pay.
So someone's going to crucify me in the comments for this, but there's clearly people that are going to pay that regardless. You could charge $2,500 and they're still going to pay that simply because they can pay for it and that's what they want. More power to you if you can do that. But I would like to believe that a majority of people are not in that financial state where they can do that. And that's where this kind of argument comes from, about not buying and going for the latest and greatest thing, simply not necessarily just on the basis of it being a really high cost, but going back to what we were talking about earlier, because the next year after that, there's going to be another one. And then you're going to have to spend another $2,000 or whatever to, continue chasing that dragon.
First of all, man, I wish I was there on the GPD Win 5 episode. I would have had so much to say. But look, the thing is, it's so speculative because we don't know, right? We just, as much as we'd love to know, we don't know how much GPD is going to charge for the Win 5. But truly, if it reaches the $2,000 range, okay, yes, it's Strix Halo, but I would never in a million years could have saying this, but this will make the Flow Z13 look like a deal. If truly the GPD Win 5 releases at $2,000, please don't buy this. Get a Flow Z13.
I feel like we've already.
So what if this thing comes out at like $1,600, $1,700? say like a $500 bump up from
So-
like any of the HX370
Man.
models.
Neo
man.
Next 2 confirmed $2,000.
Or, you know, like, yeah,
Yes.
let's say 18 even. Let's say it's less than
Oh my
2,000. Let's say
God.
it's, so, you know, we got 1,200 for an HX370, 18. So like 50% cost, you know, pay 50% more for 3 times more.
Okay. I get what Gamers Generation was saying, and I agree with him. Some people will pay that, and look, more power to you if you do. But to the point that Windeck Tech was saying in the previous episode, I don't think people realize how much they're gonna sacrifice. Like you were saying, not even having a 5-minute to be like, oh, someone's knocking at the door, tripping on the table. Oops, you just lost your progress.
Okay,
like,
well,
Yeah.
okay, so like let me just let me pull a Joe here and reel us back in for a second here. We're being maybe overly critical on the Win 5, and I'm saying this because on the Discord I've been like roasting the hell out of it. But like the thing of it is I don't see any of these 395 handhelds being anywhere near like $1,000 is, I think, the big takeaway from me anyway. So yes, it's that much more performant than an HX370. Yes, it's that much more performant than a Z2 Extreme. But like, I honestly think people are huffing some kind of copium or
for sure.
hopium if they think that this thing
For
is
sure.
going to be $1,500 or less when we're already seeing HX370s and Z2Es being around $1,000 to $1,200. It just doesn't make any sense to me, right?
And I want to add something to that. Is look, I want to make it clear. I love GPD. GPD doesn't know who the F I am, but I love GPD. Like I've been your supporter, not day one because I started with the Win 2, but man, I believe in the greatness of GPD, and I also love the Fox. The Fox, dude, I'm such a big fan of this guy, but I've seen the Fox go over and over again about how battery is important. How in the hell are we making this product make sense? Like I don't think people like, why would you want to be strapped to, okay, yes, the Win 4 and Win 5 I'm sure are going to be comfortable, but let's not kid ourselves. You're compromising to play on that device because it is portable. It's like saying, oh man, I'd love to play Battlefield 6 on a Backbone 1. What? No, you don't. You will compromise because this is the option that you have to do it on your phone in bed. You will, but that's not your controller of choice if you're in front of the TV or your PC. Like, no. So for me, the GPD Win 5 is kind of the same thing. It just, how much are you willing to compromise? And then on top of that, you're not giving me the full-fledged experience, which is what Silicone Fucks was saying on the previous episode, where there's even a loss in performance versus the Flow Z13. On my review of the Flow Z13, I said, don't strap a telescopic controller. You know what? I was wrong. Please do it. Strap the controller on the Flow Z13. Jeez. Like,
hit the gym and do it.
I'm sorry. I really wanted to be on that episode.
Clearly, we this was unscheduled, everyone. This tirade was also not sponsored in any which way. But if you do want to sponsor this tirade, you know, please hit up Clef at Game Tech Talk. Unfortunately or fortunately, we don't have other AIMAX 395 handhelds to talk about right at this minute, but we know it's just a matter of time. It's the same thing with the HX370 handhelds. You know, one started, I think it was the One X Fly that was the first one that had it, or one of them, and then they all had the refresh. So at some point, given the power profile of the AIMAX 395 and even I think the 380, it's unlikely that we're going to see like a drop in replacement. I've mentioned the reasons before, at least what I think they are. But in this context, focusing more so on the price, I mean, what would you pay? You know, if you could get it in
395,
yeah, in your ideal handheld.
Zach, I need to think this through.
So I mean, like for me, like my ideal handheld with the 395 in there, it would probably be the One Explorer X1. You know, we've been pushing this idea around. Let's just say we've been bullying 1X Player into making this X1 Max. You can hit up OK's Gamers
Ultra.
channel for that. I think that would be a great form factor for it, and it would be a direct competitor essentially to a Z13. If we're speculating that the Z13 is not selling that well, then that kind of goes back to that price thing of me thinking that it's not going to be that price competitive. That I think that it's still going to come in close to, you know, $1,800, $2,000 US, which does bring it below the Z13. But, you know, some people do want the bigger screen than you know, a 10.95. You know, this thing has a built-in controls, and that's why I think it's good for that. It's not exactly handheld, but it's a great, I guess you would say, 2 or 3-in-1.
So are we talking about the flows at 13 here, just to be sure?
Well, I was talking about both of them, right? Like, so my ideal handheld to have the 395
would be
inside
the X1. Okay,
would be the X1, right? Like, of course you can put it in clearly you can put it in a device with a 6-inch display, so maybe leave out the battery or whatever as an afterthought, but you know.
But the thing is, like, at some point it's almost like not having a battery inside makes it feel like, oh, we had to compromise, so you're gonna pay less. But hey, Spotlight, I'm gonna be a deer right about now because I'm seeing them. The battery is still there. It's just not in. You're still paying. Like, I don't expect it's gonna be 1,600. But if I had the Max 395 and my handheld of choice, and for the ideal price, what would it be? I do find the X1, because what I like with the X1, and I know a lot of people hate the controllers, but personally I think they were fine. But if really you don't like them, you can always slap a G8 Plus on them and it like is going to be better. I can't really think of something better than the X1, just because like they have that big fat slab, a nice panel on it, and I feel like they could probably deal with the temps nice enough, as well as having probably not an 80 watt hour battery, but I don't care for 80 watt. Like, just let me live for 5 minutes.
He wants a 10 watt battery, 10 watt hour battery.
No. Is it what, 50? I
Just
think.
give me long enough to plug something into it.
Wait, what in a what? In an X1?
In an X1, I think it's 50 watt hour.
X1 is 65, I think.
Oh.
And then the X1 Air, which is the Intel refresh that's coming out soon, that one has 72.
Oh wow, okay, even better. Yeah, and I'm trying to think, and I can't really. Even the Legion Go, honestly, I think I'd rather have it on the Legion Go, because it's not even about having the bigger screen. It's just having more room to like make something that makes sense. Yeah, no.
Now we gotta bully Lenovo into making a Legion Go Max.
There it is.
Yep.
We're starting it right now.
Right. So what I'm hearing from the both of you is don't buy any handhelds until they make that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have one, just play indie games for the next 2 years, 2-3 years, indie games. That's all you can play, and you know, settle down with that and be happy.
I mean, it is a hot take. I know people go both ways, and they have their reasons similar to me as to why you would use Windows as your primary operating system. For me specifically, it's like VR and also eGPU support. But yeah, for the most part, because SteamOS is out officially now on, you know, a couple of these devices like the Legion Go, like the ROG Ally. I mean, you can get a lot more out of your handheld that way, going that direction. You know, it's clear from a number of videos that you do get a little bit of a performance bump, and it's just simple. Like, let's be real. Like, Windows is annoying with their updates breaking things. You know, like
I got the answer. I got the answer for our viewers. Give yourself the chance if you haven't, but I know more and more people have actually experienced that. And you mentioned it, Gamers Generation, in a previous episode, which I was like, yes, thank you. Preach, brother. Give yourself a chance. Save a lot of money. Grab yourself one of those. That's the Red Magic Astra. OLED 165 hertz. I mean, if we're really going to talk about the Win 5, how portable is it really? You might as well just rely on Moonlight, tap into your PC that you have or your laptop, and then harness way much power that you would get from a Max 395 in the palm of your hands with OLED for something that will last 10 hours, weigh nothing, and you can choose whatever controller you want to strap on this thing. That makes so much more sense. Like, and that's where I keep scratching my head. The GPD Win 5 is not a portable device. It may be a handheld. It may have a battery that you can strap for an hour of game time, but it is not a portable device. Let's be real.
And GPD,
I mean-
if somehow you guys see this video, you've clearly pinched the nerve, like clearly,
Pinched it
like
hard.
like the carotid.
I love you,
right?
though.
They're just like
I love you, though.
stepping on it.
An
They're sitting
artery.
on it.
I'm gonna do
It
like
won't
the
let
Gen
go of
Alpha
it.
there.
Yeah.
I love you, GPD. I love you.
But even to bounce off of that, so like, you know, let's say you buy one of those tablets or you already have one. Let's say you don't even have the PC, like you said, like maybe Moonlight's not the option, you know.
But here's
You've
the crazy
got,
thing,
you know,
Zach.
possibly a 6-inch fucking Galaxy Ultra in your pocket, you know, with a 6-inch screen. Throw a backbone on that. And, you know, you got GeForce Now, Xbox Game Pass, 20 bucks a month for both of those. And so that's $250 a year. So that's 4 years instead of buying the Z2E. That's 8 years instead of buying
Wait, are you
a
gonna
Flow
say?
Z13.
Are you gonna say the meme now? I'm expecting you to say the meme.
Do you guys not have phones?
There it is. There it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, you even do the math of, you know, buying a Red Magic or a Legion Tab 4, $600-700 into that. You're still like, you can still tap into something more powerful than even what the Z13 has, you know, for that same amount of money. You know, like
You could literally buy an Astra. If let's just pretend that the GPD Win 5 is going to be 1800. Okay, I think it's realistic. 1800. I'm pretty sure for that price, you can buy a pre-build with like a 5060 in there. So you're getting you're getting actually good frame generation. Oh, shots fired. And you're getting 4x frame gen, which I'll take the fake frames any day because I like it. I don't mind the anomalies, man. It's giving me smooth gameplay. And you can still get a Red Magic Astra and land within that 1800. And then you have a PC that you can leverage for a lot more things because let's be real, the GPD Win 5 has stepped away from the thing that makes GPD, aka no more keyboard. Oh.
yeah.
They denatured themselves to make that product. I don't get it. I love you, GPD. I do. That's why I'm a tough love kind of guy. I'm not paid by Red Magic, by the way.
To your point,
Carrying these demons with him for the last week.
To your point, Clef, I'm actually looking at Slick Deals right now, and I see there is a pre-built PC with a Ryzen 7 8700F, which isn't, you know, a great CPU, but it's not a bad CPU, and you know, an RX 9060 XT, which will obliterate the Z13, and this system is $1,200. So yeah, you will, and you could add that Red Magic Astra, and you could probably save some money too.
And on top of that, yeah, you know what? If you guys need to have questions, hit me up on my channel. Look, if you're gonna be like, well, my router sucks, dude, just buy a freaking PCIe card and just tap straight into your PC, and there goes your Moonlight machine. It's gonna be clean, clean, clean. It's going to be like plugging an HDMI, or, you know, don't even get the Red Magic Astra. Just use your phone. Because, like, yeah, like you said, Zach, just use your phone, man.
Yeah.
No, he's right. He's right. He's right. Use your phone. Use some. Oh, they're back.
Is what the Win?
Some
the Win 4
Vitor
was a
XR
6-inch
glasses,
screen, right?
and make sure you use the GameSir controller attached to your phone. Bam.
We're gonna show every product we have.
Yes. There it is. There it is. Yes. Make sure you use your Vitura Luma, brand new Luma series, with your XR glasses. Unless you have a Pixel, in which case you chose the wrong phone because that
Oof.
can't display out. Choices
That was
were made. Decisions were made. Yeah, put out a GameSir controller and bam, Zach's your uncle.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, right? Because the Win 4 was a 6-inch screen, right? Or even like the original Switch was 6, right?
No, it's a 5.5 inch for the Win 4. 6
Oh,
inch,
that's
I
so that's
believe,
even
for the Switch Lite.
okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean it's even worse. So
Nice.
because I mean like yeah, the 25 Ultra is 6 when you put in the pillar boxing.
Well, yeah, to be fair, it's not the same aspect ratio though. So you're yes, but
Well, I'm saying even when you put in the pillar boxing to make it 16:9, it's like 5.8 or something on the S25 Ultra or the iPhone 15, 16, whatever Max, Pro Max that we're on right now. I mean, we're right there with it. So I mean, you got it in your pocket. It's crazy.
but these screens will blow pretty much anything out of proportion versus what you can get on handhelds.
Yeah,
Like
because I mean, OLED 120 plus freaking hertz. The stuff
clean.
we're asking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Make your own handheld, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. It's such, and then on top of that, I mean, if you love yourself and you go Android, as I say this and still have an iPhone, by the way, but I also have an Android, because you got to, you can even tap into Game Hub, Win Later, and do some local. Because if you're gonna go indie, might as well, you can still do that on your phone these days. Well, not an iPhone, on an Android.
Yeah, and you can emulate all the retro games. So, we didn't even talk about the retro stuff that's coming from overseas that's going to start getting more expensive at all. We didn't even
Change the
touch
name
that
of
in
the
the last
channel.
30 minutes.
Like, I think we should
So-
change the name of the channel. Are we going Retro United? Android United? Jokes, of course. But yeah, no, that's
Backbone United.
Oh, geez, please don't get me started on the Backbone. I love you, Backbone. So there are good alternatives. I think that's the point, right? That's the takeaway. There are good alternatives out there, and will I get a Max 395 handheld? Maybe. Will you, Zach?
Maybe a 385.
I remember you mentioning that on the previous.
Like if that can be cheaper, maybe. Like I still got to be able to afford the thing. That's the problem.
I think Frameworks prices were not a good reference, if I'm being honest. Like if I base myself off of ASUS, which I feel would be a better approach from GPD, I don't expect we'd have such a big difference. I would expect like 200. I feel like if they give 200 between the 385 and 395, that's realistic versus expectations. And if I recall from Fox's videos, I remember he recommended not to go for the 385. He said just go straight for the 395. But if I recall, I think it was a 15 to 20% drop in performance between the two, if I recall. But it's still like way better than an HX 370. So don't get me wrong, I'm still curious. I'm going off of what we have, the information that we have. I'm still excited to see what they're going to bring to the market. And truly, I'm excited to see how many people are going to jump on this thing. I'm not sold on it. If I need to.
What about you, GG? You sold on it?
Am I sold on like the 395 or any new handheld? No.
Yeah.
Nope. Definitely not.
He's setting up his phone right now. He's been looking down. He's setting up his phone with Moonlight.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. Stop looking. Stop looking.
Downloading GeForce Now and
exactly
the Xbox app and Moonlight.
Exactly. How did you know? How did you know?
But I mean, it's crazy. Like, and just one last thing, one last alternative that we haven't even talked about. Let's just say that you hear all those things about Moonlight and PC, and you're like, oh my God, no, this too much. The PS5 Pro kind of sounds like a deal right now with remote play.
Is he saying buy a PS
Portals
Portal.
United.
He's saying, that's what he's saying, though. Buy a PS Portal. Yup.
But like, imagine all the power that you have for a
PS5,
PS5
PS
Pro.
Portal, less money than a Legion Go 2. Less money than an Xbox Ally X.
It's wild, isn't it?
And soon,
get a
less
Switch
money
2,
than a
man.
Switch 2. Soon it will be less money than a Switch 2. Yeah.
Good luck, everybody.
It's been nice knowing you all.
Yeah.